Hi, my name's Jack. I'm a product designer and video maker from the UK, and for the past 4 months I have been traveling whilst remote working as a digital nomad. In that time I've been using a range of different apps and websites to help me along my journey. So in this video I want to share with you 7 of my favorites. So the first is Onward Ticket. This is a website that allows you to make flight reservations for either immigration or your visa application. Using this website you can simply select your route, make the reservation, pay only $14, and then you'll receive your tickets extremely quickly, which you can then, as I said, include in your visa application or show to an immigration officer at an airport. You can choose the validity, whether it's for 48 hours or 14 days. So depending when you're flying, you can make sure that your tickets are still valid. And then I'm pretty sure the way that the service works is after that period has gone by, they cancel the reservation they made for you, so they get the money back and then they've made a profit based on the fact that you've paid $14. But from your side, at that point, you've already entered the country that you may require a flight reservation or a onward journey for, such as the country I'm in right now, which is Colombia. I did use this method to come here, but in the scenario when you're traveling to a country and you're not sure when you're going to leave, this is a great solution so you don't have to book a flight that you're not going to end up taking. The next is another website. This is coliving.com. So I've used a number of different websites and applications to get accommodation during my trip. The main one has been Airbnb, but I feel like most people are already aware of that, so I thought I'd show coliving.com today. With Coliving, basically the whole premise is you'll be staying in places with other people, and usually there's facilities and a general community around the fact that you'll be both living and working there. So it's perfect for digital nomads, and usually it's an amazing way to meet other like-minded people who are living a similar lifestyle to you. I'll show you quickly how it works. So in this search bar here, I can choose a location or I can type in one. I'll choose Mexico City for this example, mainly because I did actually use coliving.com to find my accommodation when I was living in Mexico City for a month earlier in the year. As you can see down the left, you have the different available places. You can see there's a big variety in price, so depending on your budget and what you're looking for in a place, you can find what suits you best. There's also filters at the top, or you can look around on the map and make sure you're happy with the location you're staying in. I actually found a really good co-living space in La Roma in Mexico City while I was there, and it was at an amazing price. It had a co-working space, it had private rooms, a terrace area, and I really got along well with the people who lived there, and it was in a great location in Mexico City. So in the future, I definitely plan to stay in more co-living spaces and also use coliving.com to find them. Next up, we have a mobile application, and it is called Airalo. This has been an absolute lifesaver and game changer really for me. Basically with Airalo, you can download eSIMs onto your phone, so you can have mobile data in pretty much any country. So this means when I'm moving to a new country, I simply search the country that I'm going to, for example, Argentina, which I will be going to next month. Then it shows me the different data packages they have available. I can buy it and then install it on my phone before I even arrive in Argentina, meaning when my plane lands, I already have data on my phone and I don't have to spend time without data, which may seem a bit crazy that I can't do that, but that's kind of the modern world we're in. I'm a bit useless without my phone, but it means I immediately have mobile data. So for example, getting from the airport to my accommodation is much more easy and less stressful, and I also then don't have to go and find a shop to buy a physical SIM card. Also, another benefit of this is that I can keep my UK SIM card in my phone, so I can still receive phone calls and text messages to my UK number and use applications like WhatsApp with my UK number, which definitely helps a lot. It means I'm not giving out different locations numbers to people, and I can still receive all the two-factor authentication texts and things like that to my UK number that I would normally. It definitely isn't the cheapest way of getting data in these countries. However, it is the most convenient, so it is what I've been using my whole trip. And like all the other apps and websites in this video, I will be including a link in the description so you can download this. Next up is actually a service, and they're called Safety Wing, who have actually partnered with me to make this video. Safety Wing is insurance made specifically for digital nomads, and it's what I've been using in every country so far on my trip. SafetyWing is great because it not only covers me for medical emergencies, but also travel issues such as flight delays and lost luggage. Last month when I was living in Mexico, I went on a day trip with friends to the island of Cozumel. We rented scooters and it was a super fun day, and knowing that I was insured for any potential injuries or accidents allowed me to enjoy the day even more. SafetyWing has amazing customer support with a super fast 2-minute response time on their website and only 7 seconds on chat. If you're anything like me and you leave everything to the last minute, don't worry. It's so quick to set up that even if you're already flying to your first destination, you can set up a SafetyWing account on the aeroplane Wi-Fi and be covered before you land. SafetyWing is visa-friendly, supplying all documents needed to enter any country. It includes COVID and mandatory quarantine coverage, and if you're a parent, you can include your child under the age of 10 on your plan for free. And with personal liability insurance of up to $25,000, it gives you one less thing to worry about so you can focus on enjoying your travels. SafetyWing offers flexible travel insurance for digital nomads at an affordable price, so find a link to SafetyWing in the description to join me and over 100,000 others who travel the world safely and confidently with SafetyWing. Next might seem a bit of an obvious one, but I did have to include it, and that is a VPN. The specific one that I would recommend is ExpressVPN, as it's just what I've been using for my whole trip. A great part of the digital nomad lifestyle is that you work kind of from anywhere, whether that's a cafe, a beach club, a rooftop bar, or at a friend's place. But because you're nearly always not using your own network, you don't know how secure that network actually is, meaning a VPN should be used to make sure your online connection is secure. VPNs also have many other benefits, such as allowing you to access content and websites from other countries that might not be available in the one you're in. One example of this for me is that me being from the UK means that I consume a lot of content and news from the BBC. However, the BBC don't make all content available in every country, but using my VPN, I can pretend that I'm back in London and then watch any content on BBC iPlayer, watch any live TV, and also consume the UK version of BBC News. I'd also recommend getting a VPN that is compatible on all your devices, so you pay one subscription and then you can use it on your laptop, phone, tablet, and whatever fridge that you might be bringing with you for your digital nomad life. As I said, the one that I use is ExpressVPN, but I know there's lots of other great ones out there. Next is another mobile application, and that is Roam to Rio. Simply put, Roam to Rio basically just shows you how to get from A to B, but it includes pretty much every method of transport, from walking to being in a taxi, a bus, a train, a plane. Sometimes it even suggests to take a helicopter, which is a bit crazy, but maybe that would be useful to you. So if I find an example, the latest one that I've got typed in is London to Guatapé, because I am currently in Medellin. Guatapé is kind of a rural sightseeing destination a couple of hours from Medellin. So I thought it'd be interesting to do my home back in London to Guatapé. Basically, as you can see, it shows me all the different ways I can get there. If I choose this second one, it shows me to take a train from London Victoria to Gatwick, a flight from Gatwick to Medellin. However, if we click into that, we can look at specific flights and it shows the individual flights. For example, this one would be Gatwick to Madrid and then Madrid to Medellin, which isn't too bad. And then from Medellin airport, I'd have to get a bus into Medellin. Then I'd have to get a subway to Caribe, and then another bus to El Pinol, and then to La Piedra. So although you specifically might not want to do all this traveling in one day, I hope this example shows that you can take two locations and the application will work out all the different options you have to get from location A to B. And then number 7 is just flight comparison apps in general. I do use the two most obvious ones, which is Google Flights and Skyscanner. And in addition to that, I use a bit more of a niche one, which is called Hopper. One thing I really like about Hopper is that if you're planning to take a flight quite far in the future, you can actually pay to reserve that flight without booking the entire ticket. And that's really useful because often flights increase a lot in price as it gets closer to the date of the flight. And also, if it's an expensive flight, it means you can lock in that price when you might not have the money to pay for it. And then later, once you've been paid, you can then pay the full price for that flight, but you're not paying the higher price because it's closer to the flight date. But with flight comparison websites, I do recommend to use lots of different ones. If you use just one, they'll store your cookies and increase the price every time you recheck the same flight. Also, Google Flights will sometimes have a flight that Skyscanner doesn't, sometimes Hopper will have one that Google Flights doesn't, and sometimes Skyscanner will have one that Hopper doesn't. Does that make sense? Hopper does have a really nice application. I like the UI of it a lot. They display very nicely what dates have more expensive flights than others, so it lets you pick dates that will give you the best price. And they have a bit of a loyalty scheme where you earn credit every time you book, so you can get money off future flights and reservations. And finally, I did say I was only going to do 7 apps and websites, but I have decided to do one more. The reason I didn't include it in the 7 is because it's not necessarily essential, but I do like it a lot, and it's called Polar Steps. Polar Steps basically lets you track all the places you've been and also lets you plan the different locations you're going. So as you can see here, I've titled this trip America's Digital Nomad Trip, as that's basically, the best way to sum up the trip that I've been doing. And with this application, I can look at my entire journey. So the 30th of July, I left London. Then I went to Toronto. On day 35, I went to New York. Day 56, I was in Chicago. 59, Mexico City. Day 89, Playa del Carmen. And day 129, I arrived in Medellin, where I am right now. I've also added my future destinations that I plan to go to, just with rough dates, but this might change. And what's great is that if I don't necessarily go to these locations on these set dates, it actually tracks my location and updates the places that I've been automatically, so I don't have to keep on updating it all the time, which is really nice. There's also lots of other social features that I haven't really used, but maybe in the future I'll become more sociable with it. So that's been 7 essential apps and websites for digital nomads. Let me know what you think of my recommendations, and if you have any recommendations for me that you think will enhance my digital nomad journey, then please do leave them in the comments. Like this video if you enjoyed it or found it useful, subscribe if you're not already, follow me on other social media platforms at jackjenkinsyt, and I'll see you in the next one.